Hi there, Melissa, and welcome back to my channel. So today I have another layout for the Confessions of a Paper Addict Cut Files design team, and I'm using the 4th of July cut file. I've cut it on my silhouette, and I have these photos of my daughter, which I'll explain soon, and I am also using the Mimosa Sunday collection from Rosie's Studio. And it's I'm proud because it's a New Zealand company, and it's gorgeous, and I thought it was perfect for these winter photos. So the photos are of Azaria in 2016, and she auditioned to sing in a kids' choir for our winter festival. Our winter festival here in Queenstown is world renowned, and on the opening night they have fireworks, and the song that they sung was Katy Perry's Firework. So I thought it was perfect for this cut file, and although you can't tell in the photos that it's anything to do with fireworks, the journaling describes it. And the photos are actually the dress rehearsal. I was at the actual performance as well, but the photos would not be this good. So the kids are not wearing what they wore, but I still think it's the perfect photos to document the story. And I think I actually videoed her singing, so unless I take photos out of the video, these are the best photos. So they're not the most perfect photos. They're a bit dark because Winter Festival's in the evening, and I think the rehearsal would have been probably in the afternoon, but we lose sunlight pretty quickly in winter, and it's a shaded area where the park is, where it's held. Anyway, so I am backing the cut file with these beautiful papers. I selected some papers from the 6x6 pad. I'm using that floral because I thought for the main firework explosion it just gave a lot of colour. And then I'm using this yellow toned one with gold, and I'm trying to get the gold bits to back all the stars. There's two types of stars. There's the ones you can see there, and then there's smaller stars. And the next step is to then decide what I'm going to back all the little tiny little, I don't know what you call them, bits of the firework. So I had a choice between, I pulled the one with the crowns, and I think there was another one that had a lot of bubbles. It looked like bubbles, but I mean that was never going to work with the tiny little holes. So here, this gives you a good look at the collection as well. I got the 12x12 paper pack. And so if I'm liking one like the purple, I've pulled it aside. Yeah, this is beautiful, and the papers are a bit thinner, particularly the 6x6 papers, but I think if you're careful with them, you can still make them work for layering and backing cut files. So just going through, obviously some of these aren't going to work, but I still wanted to show you them anyway. And so that pink is looking quite good as well. And so you can see there I've got a selection. I've got pink and a lighter pink one, and that purple one, which actually reminds me of a onesie that my kids had. So here, I mean, it took a bit. I've left this in because you can see my indecisiveness. I just can't decide. But in the end, I do decide, of course. I go with this pink. It's like a two-toned one. So the easiest way for me to get this down is just to use double-sided tape. Just being really careful not to cover the holes. And now, I have been making a lot of videos this month, and I've explained my wrist in all of them, but I'll explain it again in case this is the first video that goes up. So I heard it at Jiu-Jitsu, and I've put this support on it. It is not as bad as it looks. I thought it was bad when I did it, but it's actually not. I've had physio, and I've had to wear this support for a few days, and it's annoying, but yeah, you do what you're told, don't you, when you want to get back to your sport as soon as possible. So here I'm going with a technique that I often do when I've got two photos. I'll overlap one of them. You could also not do what I'm doing here, and you could overlap them with foam behind the top one, but I've decided not to have too much dimension on this layout. And here are some of the 6x6 papers, and like I said before, they are really thin, but they're perfect. They're fine for layering, etc. So I had to make a decision whether I would cut them following the outline of the two photos, or whether I would just cut like a block rectangle. And so in the end, I go with cutting around the edge of them, and I think it looks fine. And then that blue, that navy with white triangles is probably one of my favourite papers in the entire kit. I've already used the 12 by 12 as a background, and so I think in the 6 by 6 pad you get 2 of each. Anyway, so here again I had to make the same decision. Was I going to cut around the edge, or was I going to cut a rectangle? So I cut it like a rectangle and decided I didn't like it that much and went with cutting around the edge. So loving how this is turning out. Now I'm going to be honest, I don't like, you know how you make some layouts and you absolutely love them, and in this instance, just the last couple of weeks I haven't had much creative mojo, and so I don't know, I don't 100% love this layout, but I'm happy enough with it that I don't need to not use it, or not, redo it, or not use it for a design team layout. I don't know if it's the collection I'm struggling with. It's definitely not the cut file, but my husband said, "Oh, are you struggling with the photos because they're dark?" And that could be it. But like I've said in a lot of my videos, I am a scrapbooker that scraps the story. The story is just as important as the photos, and sometimes the photos won't be that great, but the story is. And so this is a story that definitely has to go onto her album, because we were so proud of her for doing this. It wasn't compulsory, it was offered to the kids at school, and what they did was they took, I think, 4 or 5 kids from every primary school in the district and put them together for this. And so the fact that she wanted to do it and did do it is really, really important. It's an important story that needs to go on her album. So I'm actually really glad. I mean, this is an older photo, 2016. Ava was born in 2016, so it's a few years old now, and I'm so glad that I waited, because this cut file is just perfect for it. So, I don't scrap chronologically. I scrap with whatever photo I feel like scrapping, or if I'm using product that will drive the photo, and in this instance the cut file has driven the photos. So I'm just going through what I've got. I don't have the whole collection. I probably have 75% of it. These sticker books are amazing. I've also got a general one. I think they don't just put them out for collections, they put them out just generally as well. And they're quite thin. That's my only probably negative comment on them. But if you put some foam behind them, you can pop them up, etc. So they're really sweet. I love the colours in this collection, and I love the whole holiday vibe and summer vibe. So yeah, but what I'm going to put my journaling on is a journaling spot, and you get a pack of them. And I'll show you soon, you'll see the embellishments. Now here with this, like I said before, it's very thin, so I probably should have put it on some craft foam instead of several dots, but it's fine, you can't really tell. I just had to add an extra one, or extra 2 on the edges. So yeah, I'm trying to think what else I can tell you. Okay, you get the most incredible amount of ephemera in a Rosie's Studio ephemera pack. You get, to start with, there are so many, and then you get 2 of everything, which I think is great. So here I'm just doing what I always do. I'm going through and selecting the ones I want to use, or think I will use anyway. So anything to do with drinking and stuff, I mean, a mimosa is a cocktail, so anything to do with drinking is not suitable for this layout. I will save it for another layout. Yeah, so one thing I did struggle with though was I think I selected a lot of pieces that had words on them. So if you think I've used that, I think it says One Fine Day, and I've used the stickers with words, I've used the notable. When you get too many words on a layout, it can be quite difficult to embellish. So I love this little heart thing made with hands, because we loved the fact she did this, and I'm just popping it up on some little pop dots as well. So these are quite thin too. They're not as thin as the 6x6 paper, but compared to other manufacturers' ephemera, they are a bit thinner, but they're fine. So here I'm now committing to this journaling spot, and I've also put a little ticket. It was a free event, but I thought the ticket went well with it. So yeah, adding some more pop dots just to provide a bit of dimension. And I thought this little bouquet of flowers was perfect, because it's like, well done, you did it, proud of you. And I'm using the worst foam tape I've ever used in my life. Wish I didn't buy it. Anyway, I'll try and use it up. And so there, just adding my journaling. Just the details of it, really, that we were proud of her, that she auditioned, she got in. Yeah, she looks a bit serious in the photos, but she really did have a good time. Now, I did think about whether to embellish the centre of the firework. This collection comes with some enamel dots and there's some gold ones on there, and I did think about it, but then I decided no, I don't really want to take away from the design of the fireworks too much, so I'm happy with how it is just left. This is a little label sticker, and I like it when I see other people's layouts and they don't necessarily put anything on the label sticker, they just have it as an embellishment, and so that was my intention with that. And then these are probably the most gorgeous puffy stickers. They're really, really sweet, and the texture of them is lovely, and so I used 3 of them just in my clusters. You can see them there. Yeah, just trying to decide. Oh, I used 4. Yeah, I added a flower underneath there as well. And these are they're like flare, but they're a sticker, and they've got dimension on the back. You can take the dimension off if you don't want to use it, but I decided to keep it because this layout it's quite flat, and so it needed some dimension, so I've gone with 3 of those. And then I did think about using these Pink Fresh Studio Joyful Day word stickers. They are absolutely beautiful, but the colour tone wasn't quite right. I thought about using the Sparkle or even the Fabulous, but I think the Fabulous was too big, and the Sparkle, that yellow tone it was a bit dull compared to the yellow tones in this collection. And I guess because I've used quite a lot of gold too as an accent, it didn't really go. So I built a little cluster at the top. I think that word says amazing. I've got the arrow with the gold, and then I gave up on the other foam adhesive, and I've just gone with the Stampin' Up. I've just trimmed a bit of the edge. And so all I'm adding is just that amazing, the arrow, and then this little heart, which is a 2-piece ephemera piece that you could pop the little heart out, but I decided to keep it like that. And then I've been hanging out to use these beautiful foam words, and I'm going with the U. And then I'd seen somewhere else where it said, I think it said you shine or shine bright, and then I decided to go with you shine. And then I thought, no, we need to add the word bright as well. And I didn't think of that straight away, because you'll see that I add the exclamation mark. And then I rethink it and go, no, we want to have the word bright as well. So I'm adding that in, and then I'll move the exclamation mark. And I just love how this title looks coming down from the firework. And I think it helps integrate it in. And then when you read the journaling, you'll make the link between the fireworks and the photos. So that's my final layout. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back later on in the month for our release for the month. So take care, and make sure you check out my channel during September, because I have a lot going on. Take care.